Alright, hello again. This will be a cast of the Artifact Cup 17 of the Thirds of Kharak and the finals between me, Descara versus A-Game. And I'm just going to comment on some of my play from my perspective, how I do things, why I do things, some tips and tricks you can do with micro, and just general mechanics. So let's just jump into this game 1 of this best of 5 series and see what happens. Alright. And the map is the Shallows, which is a very macro-oriented map because you can easily defend your free bases just using a small force. Set up right out in front in your main. And here's a neat trick with the base runner. You can retire your base runner and spawn a probe at the same time, and you still end up with a positive net value from retiring your base runner, but you also have great scattering opportunities from spawning a probe. With this probe, in this particular game, I'm looking for a particular build that A-Game used to do around this time, which consists of a one production cruiser push with sand skimmers and railguns. And to do that, he needs to start mining RUs very early. You can see here, my probe arrives, he is indeed mining RUs. And of course I instantly lose my probe because I go flying straight over his production cruiser. But that really doesn't matter as long as I know what's coming my way. As long as I can prepare, this build is not at all that scary. And so how the build he's doing works, by the way, just pre-positioning in my carrier for when the support cruiser arrives there, so it doesn't end up in a horrible position. Salvages can do nice drop-offs, and then just saturating my second base. So how the build works that he's doing is he gets maybe 5 or 6 sand skimmers, and after that he gets assault railguns to counter the LAVs that the coalition player will be making to deal with the sand skimmers. And after the assault railguns, he gets heavy railguns to counter the normal coalition railguns that the coalition player will get to counter the assault railguns. But the thing is, he's moving out across the map and has most likely worse economy than you. And all he wants to do is really deny your second base. But as long as you can stay equal on production, you should be safe and even come out ahead. Because, for example, your LAVs, they can fight in the shadow of the coalition carrier repair beam, and they'll come out ahead. And your railguns should be arriving around the same time as his first assault railgun. And you can see my railgun resets, which I got before AV research because I knew this build was coming. It's just finishing up and starting to queue some railguns. And now it's just kind of tense positioning, but you can see his first assault railgun popping out of his PC right now, which prompts him to move in with sand skimmers, because now the whole nature of the LAV versus sand skimmers fight has been changed. The assault railgun outranges my LAVs. But of course my railgun arrives in time, so he has to back up with the assault railgun. Now his first heavy railgun is coming out, but I already have 2 normal railgun and am actually able to pick off that first heavy railgun. And that pretty much means that this push has been shut down, because without a superior railgun number you can't really do anything. And so you can see I was already there with the upgrade carrier production research, considering going into a more macro style, but I just did. I went for my third base support cruiser right now, and then getting carrier production afterwards. That's normally the best time to get carrier production, in my opinion, right after your second support cruiser, because you don't want to delay your macro that much, but you get production before support cruiser. Alright, so here you can see his assault railgun being pain in the ass, which they always are in Sandskin versus LAV battles. I have to kind of back off, but my railguns are finally catching up to my LAV force, and that will change the nature of the fight again. And there, coming range, and that gives me the opportunity to move in with my LAVs. And this video is really lagging. I wonder if that's from the original VOD or if it's my computer at the moment. I think it might be from the original VOD, so I don't think I can do anything about that. Alright, so you can see his force is kind of crappy because he moved out earlier across the map. His economy was way behind mine. But his carrier is coming out to kind of deflect my push, so I don't really want to mess too much with him. Here I'm just trying to send back some really injured LAVs to repair up by my support cruiser. You always, if you have the time, like I have here, I'm not doing anything, you always want to try to send units back for repairs. I'm also keeping a probe to the right, just to keep tabs on that flank. Generally you want your probe positioned like where your army or your scouting units, well, I usually just use 1 or 2 LAV forces, so you just want a probe to cover that line angle, and you can pretty much see anything coming at your way. And the reason I got a base runner at this point is that he doesn't have map control, so I can instantly start applying artifact pressure, which of course will force him to move out or fall really far behind in both score and in carrier power. Alright, and even going up to 2 base runners now. And so you could see in that short engagement that he's really heavy on, well, heavy railguns. He's almost getting no assault railguns anymore, and that means it's really good for me to just stock up on LAVs. He's currently not on assault ship tech because he just hasn't had time to get that at this point. So without that, and with an inferior sand skimmer force, my LAVs can really just bully his railguns around. And you noticed I just had Strike Fighter fabrication finish up. Whenever your opponent is on railgun tech only and not assault ship tech, it's often a really good idea to get strike fighters, because it makes it so difficult for him to move out on the map. He needs so many missile ships to cover that kind of area. He's quite safe in his base due to the awesome AA on the Gaussian production cruisers, but just moving out on the map is really hard for a Gaussian player who's just on railgun tech and can't get interceptors from having assault ship tech. Alright, so you can see this here. He's caught out in the open with his assault railguns, which still is the only defense against my LAVs he has. Strike fighters taking some fire to the production cruiser, but it's no biggie. My economy was better than his, and that was almost the last assault railgun, so that just allows my LAVs to move in and get some damage done on all those railguns. Well, get some kills, because you just don't want to do just damage against the Gaussian units. So it might seem like I'm a bit reckless here, and just throwing away LAVs into the meat grinder, but with how expensive Gaussian railguns are, it's just an awesome trade for me to make. and I really don't want his railgun count to get too high on a map like this, the Shallows, which is really awesome for railguns in general, and especially Galcian railguns. Alright, so I made a third support cruiser because having one artifact capped and another just to cap, I'm gonna have quite a bit of carrier power, and I've also been picking power, and just having that sit in your base is kind of pointless. So when you have that kind of power at your disposal, you just want to get your carrier moving out onto the map as soon as possible. So right now I'm still quite vulnerable because I do have my kind of good carrier, but his railgun count, despite my efforts to lower it, is kind of bonkers, as you can see right now. And he's also got the missile ship tech to actually zone out my strike fighters from sniping railguns every now and then. So that's why I'm adding on some railguns of my own. I don't really want to go into railguns as my main tool. I just need to survive, and that's the reason for adding on my own railguns. So right now it's just mostly tense positioning. I'm keeping my strike fighters to back in case I get a window of opportunity. And as well, with any air, you just kind of have to always give them orders so they don't go back to the carrier. That's just a painful fact of the search of Kharak. But it gives you something to do at least. And that base runner there was originally sent up there just to kind of escape from an eventual push by the railguns, but now that it's up there, it's actually a really good idea to put some turrets up there to be a real pain in the butt. See, this player like A-Game really likes to use those routes for flanking purposes, but now if he tries that, he'll run into a turret pointing in his face, and even if it's like assault railguns, he will take quite a bit of damage moving into that. Alright, so I'm getting assault cruiser fabrication. That's not because I like assault cruisers, that's because I need artillery if I'm going to deal with this rampant railgunning from A-Game. And also because artillery and a strong coalition carrier synergizes really well. Okay, so now he's moving in, but his missile ships are so out of position, so I can just move in with my strike fighters and get free shots on everything. Now the missile ships are kind of showing up, but he's losing his assault railguns. His sand skimmers for some reason went up to kill my turret. I guess he was afraid of losing his salvages, which he did. But now there's suddenly no defense against the LAVs, and everything is just kind of trying to retreat, and assault rails are trying to target down the LAVs, so nothing at all is firing at my own railguns. If you can get a jump like that on your Galcian opponent, you're in a really good spot. It's not common, but it's real nice when it happens. Alright, so we're getting a really early power level 5, and that is, especially on this map, the ultimate rail counter. This map is quite narrow, like the map itself is big, but every field of approach is very narrow with this rock formations limiting your approach. So power level 5 and the cruise missile is a great counter to mass rails. Also artillery. You could see in the upper left corner that he's actually gone up to a considerable sand skimmer force. That's the reason I'm pumping out LAVs on my own, and also when I have the chance just pumping out an extra base runner turret. So if I have those up, just moving haphazardly into my own railgun line with his sand skimmers will be greatly punished. Like, usually he'll just take 1 or 2 sand skimmers casualties as a guarantee. I'm setting my base runner really recklessly here. That's not because I didn't think I could save it, but it's because I really like having his railguns up there right now. I'm going up to high level tech, and anytime you're teching in an RTS, you're really exposed. Let's see, why didn't you use your rails to shoot the MS? Yeah, that's a good question. I think it might have been behind a dune, or I just didn't think of that. One thing I do too little is killing... Oh, yeah. Just finishing that line of thought. One thing that I do too little is taking out AA with my ground units. It's kind of hard because railguns will be hitting your own railguns while trying to do this, so it's a kind of risky endeavor. Okay, so you can see on this map he kind of has to be clamped up, but he's unusually clamped up. So I get an awesome cruise missile hit, which just wipes his railgun force off the map. Let's see. And with that railgun force done for, there's really nothing stopping my carrier from moving in and just shitting all over his base. So that's what I'm doing now. I have 2 support cruisers to repair my carrier. They're kind of lagging behind. Yeah. One thing about controlling late game collision, it's mostly about just kind of keeping momentum, because all the units are really bulky, so you do want to control them individually, but it's also really easy to move them too far forward. So you want your support cruisers tagging along, but not moving too far to the front, which sounds really easy, but can end up being quite difficult. Now with this inferior rail force, Agameanx is really backed into a corner. I have my own rail force from before, which wasn't meant to win the game or anything, but now he just can't do anything in the face of even that. And the support cruiser... I'm considering getting BCs. Oh, I'm getting BCs. Well, it's because I'm moving into close range of his carrier with my own carrier, and anytime you can pop a BC in a situation like that, it's really great. And at this moment, it's very much GG. My Arctic cruisers pop, I can do precision barrages, and my carrier can just do it. So what lost that game, is really that he went for the 1 PC push and was really unlucky to instantly lose his first heavy railgun, and without that first heavy railgun he just can't do anything pretty much with that push, and having done a push like that, he's also economically behind. Alright, so I figure I'll just do one more of this game, maybe 2, and we'll see. And if anyone's wondering, this is on Twitch right now, and Xavian asked a question in the Twitch chats. That's why I paused the video and talked about missile ships. Alright. Let's see. Yeah, I'm ready. Apparently we're really... we don't say a lot in this Artifact Cup finals. Oh well. So this map is a whole lot trickier, the Boneyard. It's hard to say if it's a macro map or an aggressive map. It's kind of in between, but it's also very easy to end up with your expansions very exposed to flanking moves, especially as Coalition, because the field of attack is quite wide, and sand skimmers can just move so quickly with raiding. But despite that, will have me going for a support cruiser first build, retiring my base runner just to scout another time for the 1 PC push, sending out my probe there. And there's some variation on the support cruiser first build you can do, but normally just all salvages on CUs, then 2 salvages to RUs, and that's it. And you see I'm doing manual drop-offs with the Cs just to hit 600 Cs really quickly. That's also something you can do to trim some time up that build. And here, moving up once again with the probe just to check what Agame is actually mining. And he's not mining RUs. Okay, so that means it doesn't necessarily mean he's going macro. Will we lose this probe? Yeah, I think we did. Oh no, it survived. But there's a high chance of it, and he's definitely not doing a railgun push like the one we saw last game. He probably realized that I will just have such an easy time holding that. This was quite recently after learning to play against it. I think I failed miserably a couple of times and then suddenly learned to play against it. So he just decided to switch build orders. Alright, so that means possible macro build, and that prompts me to go AAV research before railgun research, because AAV research is much cheaper and faster than railgun research, which allows me to go up to production slots on the carrier much quicker. So AAV research just goes much more well with the macro build, in my opinion, as Coalition. Also, the AV research is really useful for defense, not really maybe defending against units, but using smoke on support cruisers that are exposed. And then you can add in whatever units you need to defend. Like, if it's going sand skimmers, you need maybe 2 AAVs and then just LAVs to do actual damage versus the sand skimmers. And so I'm deciding to go into fighter fabrication. It's kind of a bold move because I haven't seen any kind of tech from him, so it might get really shut down. But it does give you awesome field control, and it's a nice way to be quite aggressive on 2 bases. While not a good choice if you're getting rushed, of course, but since I know Agame is not rushing for now, I can get strike fighter fabrication and be quite safe with it. Here you can see I'm trying to plan out my census network, sending some random LAVs over the map, using my probe to watch for flanks. Agame is scouting my third, which is really annoying. I was hoping to deny that scout. Because now he knows for sure I'm on 2 base at the moment. Otherwise he would have a much harder time determining the pace of his macro, like is descara on 2 base, is descara on 3 base. But now he knows, so well, no playing in the dark for him. I'm adding in some strike crafts, which if he doesn't get AA of his own will allow me to hit either production cruisers or resources very soon. And I would say, unless you're very sure you can go for a production cruiser kill, you want to hit the resource spot where the carrier is. Because obviously the carrier doesn't have anti-air, so you can just get free shots in with your strike fighters. Meanwhile, since there's no aggression coming out from Agame really, I'm sending out my my AAV to his main just to be as annoying as possible. Also, I'll have visual. I think his carrier has to be here, but I'm just checking, and now I'm sending in strike fighters to harass his worker line. He's instantly splitting, but he's already taking some damage. I'll be splitting some shots here, you see. Just to not waste strike fighter shots on overkill. Just, you know, 3 strike fighters firing on 1 injured salvager will deal way too much damage than it's necessary to kill them. So just splitting fire, you can get some extra kills. Here at the end you can actually see me over-splitting damage, so to say. I ended up not getting one of those 2 final 2 final salvages, but it's alright. I'm going up to Assault Cruiser Fabrication on this map. I would say that Assault Cruisers are actually quite a good choice, because how it usually goes is your Galcian opponent end up with this rampant sand skimmer force, and the map is so broad from the right flank, or the southeast to the northwest flank, and there's so many fields of attack. Just having some assault cruisers and AAVs in your backline ready to defend your support cruisers, smoke and defend your support cruisers is just really nice. I honestly don't remember if I ended up getting assault cruisers though. Alright, so there's still no AA for Agameanx, but he's moving out onto the map with assault ships. So I'm just sending out my strike fighters to keep that assault ship number down. If they get up to too big of a number, I can't really stop them before getting to my base, especially if he's adding in assault ship armor. So you can see, first I picked up that one. Was kind of a bad move, because I should have gone down here to the ones actually close to my main, but I'm still safe. I have my base runner in position to put down a turret. Real nice position for early-ish turrets here, just to defend your main from this flank. And now my base runner can also go capture very safely out this line of sight blocker route. Alright, and now we see Agameanx has gone up to interceptors, which is a very reasonable response to my strike fighter tech. Interceptors, of course, wreck strike fighters in an air-to-air war, but they are very fragile, so you don't really need anything more than LAVs to kill them, unless he gets the afterburner upgrade, because then you suddenly have a really hard time catching up to the interceptors with your LAVs. But you can see I'm getting LAV assault pack. That's on the one hand to mitigate the effect of that, and just to allow my LAVs to be in a better position to act as anti-air. Also, I just went up to artillery cruiser fabrication, or I'm going up to it right now, which will really help me on this map. And you can see just the fact that he has air of his own kind of makes me wary to, well, how I should position my LAEs. If I all send them here to defend my base runner, my resource line will be very exposed all of a sudden. Now he's kind of overextending his sand skimmers. I have a turret here at the back, and I have my carrier putting in some AoE damage as long as with my strike fighter. So he ends up losing a lot of sand skimmers for quite a bad trade. And here come the interceptors. My LAVs are kind of in position, and can pick one down quite handily. That's how you see how fast the LAVs kills interceptors. And he doesn't even get the base runner kill. It survives with a sliver of hit points. And now, having expended all his interceptors, I'm trying to kill that base runner. My carrier is free to move in here with just the strike fighters to deal with the railguns. They were shooting at the sand skimmers for a while there, but that's not a good idea. Also, because I want to... I did kind of a mistake, but maybe not. I told my base runner to place a turret. If I had moved in, maybe I would have scored the artifact, but I just really want this whole area to be safe from sand skimmers, because Agameanx is going up to quite a high number of sand skimmers, and they are so difficult to deal with as a coalition when they get to those kind of numbers. Reason for that is that AAVs, the normal sand skimmer counter, doesn't have AoE. You can see here I've gotten a gunship actually just to deal AoE damage to his sand skimmers. it won't probably kill a lot on its own, but it can force him to take bad engagements versus LAVs. So it's kind of like a forced multiplier, if that makes sense, for your LAVs. And now I'm just adding in some artillery cruisers. I want to stay here in my very safe corner with the line of sight blocker for my carrier, and use the artillery to counter any railgun coming my way. So here's what I'm talking about. This map is so big, so A-game can send his sand skimmers and threaten my resource ops. Luckily, I have the gunship, so I have to be kind of cautious, and I have a decent number of AAVs also. Of course, the weakness of the gunship is that it's really easy to kill with interceptors, but also because it's supposed to be a force multiplier for my LOVs, what you want to do is keep it really close and use the LAVs in front of the gunships, so the interceptors can't just zoom past and snipe the gunship. Alright, so here we see him moving in with sand skimmers. My gunship arrives at location. My LAV should be more to the front to take advantage of this fight, also to threaten his interceptors. But you can see now he's opting to go for my artillery cruisers, which is bad for me, of course. I'm probably gonna lose one of those. But it does allow me to take a great fight up in the north, because there's no way of dealing with my gunship. And so my LAVs can take a good engagement versus his sand skimmers. Also, I'm building up a new LAV force down in the right-hand corner, just to deal with the air threat and potentially threaten the railguns. But you see they have to start backing up here. And this is a misplay from me here. I'm moving up into his support cruiser and actually cornering myself against the superior sand skimmer force, which obviously sucks. But no matter, I've been kind of ahead this game, so I can take some losses. I'm also finally in a position to actually start capturing artifacts. I've been losing a lot of them. Now I can get my base runners and ferry them over to the extraction zone, if they manage to survive. But once again, huge misplay from me sending my whole LAV force up there. And here you can see typical A-game move. He's using his carrier to deny my mining, because I've already denied his third for mining, which obviously is really bad for him. But he's using his carrier, which I don't have a counter for at this moment, to do that. And here you can see the outcome of me overextending my LAVs. I just don't have a big enough LAV force to deal with the sand skimmer force. So even with this carrier putting in damage and my own LAVs putting in damage, you can just move past me and take out an artillery cruiser. Still a good position for me. I'm finally marshalling out artifacts. I'm getting superior LAV numbers after that throwaway. I'm trying to get my economy out of there, because this whole situation is turning into a base trade pretty much. Insofar, this is of Kharak actually has base trades. You can see I got missile batteries. It's only very slightly... let me just finish that train of thought, I'll pause there. It's only very slightly to deal with interceptors, because I can use my LAVs for that, but it's more to deal with potential sand skimmer blobs, because if I have 2 or maybe 3 missile batteries along with my main army, suddenly he has to be very careful moving in, because he can instantly get hit with a mortar barrage from the missile battery, dealing insane damage, letting my LAVs just clean up his sand skimmers. Alright, so we're going into base trade, and you want to kill, in a base trade, you want to kill as much of your opponent's economy as possible. So I'm firing a cruise missile on his 2 production cruisers. That's his last 2 production cruisers, by the way. Takes out whole blob of salvages and almost kills both of the PCs. So with that done, I only need to move in with my own LEDs and go. It's also still at an inferior Sandskimmer force. Can still kind of threaten me by putting in a little damage everywhere he manages to, but if I'm careful I shouldn't lose any LEDs really. And the only thing A-Game has going for him at this time is that he's got interceptors, and his interceptors allow for mobility and just taking down my air or hitting my eco if it's undefended. So I still have to be kind of careful, even though he's down a lot. He can do enough damage to eventually kill me if he's really good. Well, he's really good, but if he pulls it off nicely. And you can see there I was just kind of trolling around with LAVs, trying to snipe off some interceptors, managed to get one, but lose a whole bunch of LAVs for the trouble. So I don't want to be too bold with my carrier. The Gaussian carrier is quite a beast, and so it is potentially possible for me to lose my carrier in a battle like that. And you can see I'm spreading my AV, so my resource operations. This is just to deal with any potential Sandskimmer flank if he manages to get through my whole lines. And here, misplay, I lose control of my gunship for a moment, and it moves too far into his airspace, which allows him to more or less instantly shoot it down with his interceptors, because the gunship doesn't have any AA coverage from my LAVs. And he's controlling his interceptors really well, avoiding my LAVs to the highest degree possible. Even with the speed boost, I can't catch up to them, obviously. So just a good strike fighter control from A-Game there. Obviously, it's like some of his last few units, so he's being really careful. You could see there I was kind of considering battlecruiser tech for a while. It's once again because it's really great in Brawl. So now I'm just throwing a cruise missile at A-Game's carrier's face because I want to keep it weakened so it doesn't feel too bold moving about. If the Sandskimmers get caught out by missile battery, allows my my LAVs to take a great fight, and we'll probably see the whole force of Sandskimmers going down. Yeah, there you go. Could have maybe gone that way without the missile battery, but it could have also not, because my whole LAV force is really weakened. So just that missile battery was actually really pivotal. Now it's going again for my economy. My carrier is just doing collision pathing things and can't catch up to the faster Gaussian carrier. So I just have to retreat my eco and try to keep it alive for as long as possible. I still have that one missile battery, which now is actually turning into functional tool versus the strike interceptors of A-Game. Just putting max armor power here, not really because I need the armor, but because it allows for self-repair, and in a potential carry fight you just want to have every little edge, aka max health in this case, on your side. And now A-Game's carrier is getting really exposed and putting power back into range and weapons. It's actually managing to hit my economy with strike fighters, because my AA is just way out of position. It was guarding my base runners for a while there. But he's still getting caught up, the carrier that is, by my carrier. He is kind of threatening my second or last remaining support cruiser, but well, Very just hits a rock and now it's pretty much GG. probably can't outrun my carrier at this point, and my carrier can't die to his carrier with such a big health discrepancy. Again, sorry about the laggy video playback. I'm not sure if it's the VOD. It's partly the VOD itself and partly my shitty hard drive. Alright, so just one note, the carrier went down. Just one note about that final battle. You could see I was sending my LAV and my whole salvager line to retire. This is because I'm stuck at 413 CUs and wanted to get a cruise missile. Well, wanted to have a cruise missile just in case. The really observant viewer can note that I have a salvager with more or less 90 CUs. Oh wait, is that 90? Oh no, never mind, that would never work. So I was just retiring those units to get a cruise missile off just in case. But I didn't end up needing it. Alright, so I'll do one more game and that'll probably be it for tonight. I'll see if I'm doing this again. I'll see if I can get video playback to function correctly. It's obviously working fine when I'm doing it offline. Oh no, this game. But now with streaming, it's putting some extra strain, I guess, on my system. Let's see. I might skip this game because it's really shitty.
Runner, go ahead. Confirm visual copy. An artifact. Set new hit on our target lock. Set. Light attack vehicle in service.
Now I can't remember which one is the shitty game. I think the Krill game is decent. Alright, let's just rewind to that final one. In the previous game, the one that was loading up on Galcian territories, A-Game pulled a new build order out of his pocket, and now I know how to play against it, but at that point I didn't, so it's pretty much just a shitfest. Could be educational, I don't know. Probably not. So let's just see how this game is. Krill is kind of a tricky map. It's not too far between the spawns, but there's a lot of line of sight blockers. There's these high grounds just overlooking your main base, so you can actually quite exposed to early aggression. A railgun push, for example, can stand up on the high ground plateau just northwest of my carrier here, just shoot into my main base without any abandon. Doing the normal scout, I see that A-Game is not going for a railgun push of any kind because it's not mining RUs, so I'm safe to go, well, a variety of styles. I don't have to immediately adapt and get railgun research of my own, at least.
Hold fast. Do not proceed to rally point.
You might have noticed that I've been going Sport Cruiser first pretty much every game. It's pretty much just the superior collision opener, unless the map is small enough to AAV rush. And the only map that is really small enough to AAV rush is Kalash Chief. and a play like a game playing versus me will always beat Joe Kalash if he's playing Gaussian versus Coalition at least. So now, just with the positioning of A-Game's production cruiser, I'm kind of uncertain. Hang on. Kind of uncertain what he's actually up to. So I just queued in one LAV to have some scouting ability.
Proceed to rally point. Secure location marked. Strike confirmed. Destination set.
Obviously, I would like to keep my probe alive, but I've messed up and sent it straight into his production cruiser. A-Game likewise seems curious about what I'm up to. He's probably looking for some kind of AV rush or something, but you can see that I'm on two bases, so I won't be doing any crazy rushes. I am getting AVs though. It's a decent map to get a little bit of harass in. You can't really outright kill your opponent like on Flash. Alright, so you might have seen I just got railgun research. The reason for that is that A-Game is up to 4 sand skimmers, and that is a much bigger force than is necessary to scout. And having a much bigger force than sand skimmers than is necessary to scout means aggression. And it isn't really possible to kill a good coalition player with pure sand skimmer aggression, so that means either assault ship aggression or more likely railgun aggression, and that means you instantly need railguns of your own. This might actually be... Okay, so I cancel that railgun research right before finishing because I didn't see any more move out. We'll see in a minute if that was a huge mistake or not. In the meanwhile, I'm just adding in some LAV armor to stay ahead in this skimmer LAV wall.
On our way. Reading. Light attack vehicle enhancements online.
And the video is getting really laggy at this point. So now I'm thinking that A-Game has actually backed out and gone full on macro despite sending out 4 skimmers. And it turns out I'm probably right, he's already got salvages on his third. So it turns out it was risky cancelling that railgun production, but it turned out it should be a good read, because if you fall behind in macro versus Gaussian, well, in any game really, it's just really hard to catch up. Here I take kind of a bad, well, a really bad strikecraft fight. I'll let my strikecraft get cornered by his LAVs and end up losing quite a few. At least my AAV arrives at his second base just to kind of distract him a little bit. Doesn't do any damage really and dies horribly, but just a small distraction. And now I'm adding in railguns of my own just to stay safe in case he decides to move across the map with his own.
Construction resources exhausted.
I'm also getting LAV armor too because I'm behind in the strikecraft wall. It's got higher sand skimmer number than my LAV numbers. So I just wanted to stay kind of safe and not get overrun by strikecraft.
We have insufficient CUs.
And right now I don't know if A-Game is still on 2 base or he's actually gone up to 3 base. Maybe it was just kind of a feint sending that lone salvager, or he switched it up. So I'm kind of playing in the blind here. I don't know how much aggression will be coming my way.
Strike confirmed. Push up to that point. Fleet group 1 assigned.
But in any case, I should be adding in railguns in just a minute, if I'm doing this right. And you can see here from that early bad engage with the LAVs versus sand skimmers, it's already got way superior numbers than me.
order confirmed.
Control Group 2 designated. Fleet Group 3 assigned.
Coordinates
So with this kind of force on the field,
Control Group 1 designated.
I'm just trying to stay safe and keeping my armored assault ready to smoke my third base support cruiser in case it's necessary. Agameanx sees the armored assault and know he won't be getting a support cruiser kill, and that's actually enough to deter him.
Coordinates confirmed. On our way. Ready.
So this is actually kind of hard to tell if it's me or Agameanx taking bad fight. His forces were kind of split up, but he does manage to catch up to my my LAVs. You can see as a result of that I'm getting even more upgrades for my LAVs just to compensate for the LAV losses that I will be taking in just a minute.
Fleet Group 1 assigned.
And of course, the bad thing about taking fights like that as coalition is that any damage that your opponent shipped in on your LAVs will be permanent, while the Sandskimmers can repair quite handily.
Light attack vehicle enhancements online.
And now I think I have the proper numbers to overrun his Sandskimmers. We'll see if I'm right. I'm using the control bandbox, which is actually a group attack, to target fire, because I find it's just way easier than clicking a individual unit. But maybe it's something to you can incorporate into your micro. So he doesn't actually have any assault railguns, which allows my LAVs to continue being annoying. Suddenly there's a missile ship though, so I have to be really careful not to take a barrage.
On our way. Op ready. Reading you, command. Alert. LAV down.
Fleet Group 8 assigned.
At this point, I would say it's quite equal. We both went up.
Move to intercept.
We both went up to free base economy quite early, and
Strike craft. Enemy
I
support
did
craft
get
neutralized.
quite a bit of Sandskimmer kills in there, so I'm not as behind as I thought I would be from that early Sandskimmer battle. I thought I would be taking damage from having lost so many LAVs. But I'm able to start marshalling artifacts. I haven't started getting railguns because I haven't been feeling that there's a big move out, but that might be a mistake, but because here we see a big force coming out from the game. But he doesn't have any assault railguns still, so even though he's got four heavy railguns on the field, he can't take super good fights against my LAVs. Maybe he can if I do like this and just run into his Sandskimmer swarm though. This is still quite even. I think he'll come out ahead on account of being able to reinforce much quicker than me, and me having closed the distance myself.
We got something on the horizon. Waiting for eyes on to attention.
And I have assault cruiser tech on the way at this point. I'm hoping that will help me deal with this rampant Sandskimmers, but it might actually be just too late. It's also got the railguns, of course, which will help dealing with the assault cruiser. And now you can see finally assault railguns arriving for Agameanx, and that will change the whole nature of the fight. My LAVs can't kite at all, not that I've been doing a good job so far, but suddenly they'll just take so much damage from trying to take an engagement with his Sandskimmers. So I have to be really careful. And suddenly I'm in a really bad position. Like you see, I didn't even think I could keep my assault cruiser alive, so I did actually remake it. I'm going up to 3 support cruisers because I want my carrier out on the field. It's not a terrible map for railguns, what with the high ground and everything, but it's still kind of easy to keep your carrier safe with all the line of sight blockers. Oh my god, the video.
Artifact position locked in.
That was definitely my computer. So I think if A-Game got a bit more cocky at this point, he could just move in and kill everything. Luckily, he's a bit scared. He probably thinks I might have more forces ready, and I do have that assault cruiser coming out in just a bit. And now my support cruiser comes out in the middle of the fight. Of course, you could get instantly sniped with this number of railguns, so I just moved behind the twin there. Let me just pause the video here because it's lagging really, really hard.
Cruiser into the fray. Receiving. Coordinates.
Control group 1 designated.
Go ahead. Ready. Set.
So how I ended up in this position is most like from taking numerous really bad engagement with LAVs and kind of over-investing into LAVs and not doing a lot with them. I killed some Sandskimmers, sure, but A-Game killed more LAVs than I killed Sandskimmers. Also now they're really clamped up and exposed to carrier missiles, so just getting the hell out of there.
Research completed. Control group 6 designated.
And with the assault cruiser, you see I'm using the one of its abilities, the extra speed and armor, just to kind of get it out of harm's way. But I'm in a really shitty position. A-Game is using his carrier and his superior rail force. Well, there's no rail force for me at all to deny my main base, so he'll be outmining me vastly. I do have artillery cruisers on the field, but they'll be really exposed because he's right in the face of my carrier and might actually just kill them before they have any chance to do anything good. And you can see one of them popping out, and it's probably gonna die more or less instantly. Yep. You can see it got some shots off, but not nearly a lot. I missed the second artillery cruiser spawning, and it goes down instantly. I am killing almost all of A-Game's Sandskimmers with my assault cruisers, but he has assault ships on the field now, and the thing is that assault ships scale way better than AAVs versus LAVs, since they do AoE damage. A certain number of assault ships can deal way better with a big number of LAVs than an AAV can deal with a big number of Sandskimmers. So now I'm really in the shitter. Can't really build any more artillery cruisers because he's up in my face and I'll just instantly lose them. I opt to build railguns instead. Not sure about that decision. What I should have done at this point is probably get strike fighter tech. It doesn't take that long to research if I'd planned ahead, and an air switch would have allowed me to shut down all of his railguns for time being, at least until he got some AA of his own. And then my assault cruisers would have kept me safe from his Sandskimmers. So that would probably have been the way to play this game. Now you see his railguns, assault railguns, are running rampant, taking down my resource ops. I'm going up in carrier power, but it's way too late to have any meaningful impact on the game. So you can see I went from having a pretty good read on the game, cancelling my railgun research to keep up with A-Game's macro, but then I just invested way too far into LAVs. I pumped so much money into the upgrades and into bad engagement and didn't get any return for it, so that just pretty much ended up costing me the game. An air switch could have turned things around, but it's kind of doubtful at that point even. Alright, what with the shitty playback, I think that'll be it for now. Might post this video, might not, given how laggy it was. Thanks for watching, anyone who watched. This was kind of fun. Might do it again sometime. Alright, that's it for now. Have a good time. Sinistro, can you send me the replay of Boneyard? Don't you have the replay in the AC17 package? Because I'm pretty sure. Oh, you mean yeah, Sinistro. These games were played at a gaming cafe, so I'm not sure if I was able to send the replays to you. I think I might have had access to the file system at that gaming cafe. They were really helpful, helping me out all the time. So I'll try to dig it up in my email if I have it. Once again, thanks for watching and have a good time.